The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was older than most civilizations. Its walls were made of black stone taken from dead stars. Its ceiling rose so high that clouds formed beneath it. For 10,000 years, the rulers of the galaxy had gathered here to decide the fate of worlds. Today, 47 species sat in their designated seats. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had no bodies at all and existed only as light, but they all shared one thing: they were afraid. High Commander stood at the center of the hall. He was tall, even for a. His gray skin was covered in old battle scars. His 4 eyes glowed yellow in the dim light. He had conquered 30 worlds in his lifetime. He had never lost a war. "Counselors," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "I bring news from the outer rim. The humans have developed faster than light travel." A wave of whispers moved through the hall. The delegates clicked their teeth in alarm. The representatives flickered with nervous light. Counselor rose from her seat. She was ancient, even by standards. Her blue skin had faded to pale gray over the centuries, but her mind was still sharp. "Show us," she said. Pressed a button on his wrist. A hologram appeared in the center of the hall. It showed a small blue planet covered in water and clouds. Green and brown land masses dotted its surface. "Earth," said, "third planet from a yellow star called Sol, home to 8 billion humans." The hologram zoomed out to show the solar system. Red dots appeared at the edges. "These are their colonies, 12 in total, all established within the last 50 years. Leaned forward. 50 years, that is impossible. No species expands that quickly. "Humans do," replied. "They breed faster than any species we have ever studied. They are short, but they reproduce constantly. A human female can produce offspring every year for 30 years, and each generation learns faster than the one before." Another counselor spoke. This one was a race of beings made entirely of crystal. Light refracted through his body as he talked. "We have observed humans for 200 years. They were supposed to destroy themselves. Every prediction said they would not survive their own technology." "The predictions were wrong," said. "They did not destroy themselves. They united. 120 years ago, they stopped fighting each other and formed a single government. Since then, they have advanced faster than any species in recorded history." The hologram changed. It showed human ships. They were ugly things, all sharp angles and exposed metal. They looked primitive compared to council vessels, but there were many of them. "Their fleet currently numbers 300 ships," continued. "Small by our standards, but they add 20 new ships every month. At this rate, they will have 1,000 ships within 5 years, 10,000 within 20. Silence fell over the hall. Every counselor understood what those numbers meant. Fleet Admiral finally spoke. He was the oldest being in the room. His body was more machine than flesh now. His voice came from speakers embedded in his chest. "I have studied humans for 100 years, said. "They are unlike any species we have encountered. They are aggressive, they are adaptive, and they never give up. Other species accept defeat. Humans do not understand the concept." "What do you recommend?" asked. His mechanical eyes turned to face her. "Elimination, complete and total, before they become too strong to stop." Several counselors gasped. The delegation flickered rapidly, even seemed surprised by how directly he had spoken. "You are suggesting genocide," said a counselor from the Republic. "The Council has not ordered such action in 3,000 years. "The Council has not faced a threat like humans in 3,000 years, replied. "Look at their history. They enslaved each other. They created weapons capable of destroying their own planet. They killed billions of their own kind in wars fought over ideas. Imagine what they will do to us." Nodded slowly. "The Admiral is correct. Humans are dangerous in ways we cannot predict. They do not think like us. They do not plan like us. They take risks that would be considered insane by any rational species, and somehow they survive. Counselor stood again. Her old bones creaked as she rose. I have lived for 900 years, she said. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species evolve from animals into gods, but I have never seen anything like humans. They frighten me, not because they are strong, but because they do not know they are supposed to be weak. She looked around the hall at her fellow counselors. I vote for elimination. The vote happened quickly after that. One by one, the counselors made their choice. 43 voted in favor of invasion. Only 4 voted against. Bowed to the council. I will lead the fleet personally. We will assemble 9,000 ships, the largest armada in galactic history. Earth will fall within 72 hours. 9,000 asked. Is that not excessive? Their fleet is only 300 ships. I am not taking chances, said. Humans are unpredictable. I want overwhelming force. I want there to be no possibility of failure. The council approved his request without further debate. Over the next 30 days, ships gathered from across the galaxy. Warships from the Empire, destroyers from the Confederacy, cruisers from the Collective. 9,000 vessels carrying 2 million soldiers, all pointed at one small blue planet. On the day the fleet departed, stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion. It was the largest warship ever built. Its weapons could crack a planet in half. Set course for Sol system, he ordered. His navigator obeyed. The stars stretched and blurred as the ship entered faster-than-light travel. Looked out at the blackness of space. Somewhere ahead, 8 billion humans waited. They did not know death was coming for them. They did not know that the greatest military force ever assembled was racing toward their home. He almost felt sorry for them. Almost. The invasion of Earth had begun. 300 meters beneath the streets of Seoul, General Park sat in a room filled with screens. The walls showed maps of the solar system. Red dots moved slowly across them. Each dot was an enemy ship. He counted them silently. 3,000 in the first wave, 3,000 more behind them, and 3,000 more after that. 9,000 ships coming to destroy his world. Was 58 years old. His hair had gone gray 10 years ago. His face was lined with wrinkles earned from decades of worry. He had spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment. Part of him had hoped it would never come. Sir, Lieutenant approached his chair. She was young, barely 30, with sharp eyes and steady hands. She held a tablet showing a waveform pattern. We intercepted their transmission. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Play it, said. The room filled with an alien voice. It had been translated by their computers, but it still sounded wrong. Too flat, too cold. People of Earth, this is High Commander of the Galactic Council. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally, disable your weapons, ground your ships, present your leaders for judgment. If you comply, some of you will be allowed to live as servants. If you resist, your planet will be sterilized. Every man, woman, and child will be eliminated. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning. The message ended. Silence filled the room. Looked at her general. How do we respond, sir? Stood up slowly. He walked to the main screen and stared at the red dots. So many of them. So many ships filled with soldiers who wanted his people dead. We do not respond, he said. Activate protocol silence. Full communication blackout. Not a single signal leaves this planet. Nodded and began typing commands into her console. The door behind them opened. Defense Minister entered, followed by Admiral Lee of the Space Navy. Was a politician, soft-spoken but clever. Was a warrior, tall and stern, with medals covering her chest. I assume you have seen the transmission, said. I have, replied. And your recommendation? Turn to face them both. We fight. Side, General, they have 9,000 ships. We have 300. The mathematics are not in our favor. The mathematics assume we intend to fight them in space, said. We do not. Raised an eyebrow. Explain. Pressed a button on his console. The screen changed to show a diagram of the solar system, but this diagram was different. It showed things that were not supposed to exist. For 200 years we have known we were not alone, said. We detected their signals. We studied their movements. We learned that the galaxy is filled with civilizations that see us as insects, and we prepared. He pointed to the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. We place sensors on every rock larger than a house. We know exactly when ships enter our system and exactly where they are. He pointed to the moons of Saturn. We built stations on these moons, hidden stations, invisible to their sensors. He pointed to Earth itself. And we created something new, something they have never seen before. Stepped closer to the screen. What did we create? Looked at both of them carefully. What I am about to tell you is classified at the highest level. Only 12 people on Earth know about this project. Now there will be 14. He took a deep breath. 20 years ago, Dr. Bay developed a new form of technology. Microscopic machines, billions of them. We call them dust. I have heard of nanomachines, said. They are used in medicine. These are not for medicine, said. These are weapons. Each particle of dust is smaller than a grain of sand. They can enter any ship through any opening, through air vents, through cooling systems, through the gaps between hull plates, and once inside they take the ship apart. His face went pale. Take it apart. At the molecular level, the dust breaks down metal, plastic, glass, everything. The ship dissolves. The crew dissolves. Nothing is left. No wreckage, no bodies, just atoms floating in space. Stared at the general. You are saying we can destroy their entire fleet. I am saying we already are, replied. The dust was deployed the moment their first ships entered our system. Look. He pointed to the screen. The first wave of red dots had numbered 3,000 when the transmission started. Now there were only 2,700. 300 ships gone in the last hour, said. They do not know what is happening. They cannot see the dust. Their sensors cannot detect it. To them, their ships are simply vanishing. Sat down heavily in a chair. This is a massacre. No, said firmly. A massacre is what they planned for us. 8 billion people dead, every city burned, every child killed. This is defense. This is survival. The red dots continued to disappear. 2,600, 2,500, 2,400. Watch the screen with cold satisfaction. How long until they reach Earth? The first wave will arrive in 18 hours, said. By then, I estimate only 2,000 ships will remain. The second wave is 12 hours behind them. The third is 12 hours after that. And the dust will destroy them all. That depends on how they react. If they continue on their current course, yes. If they retreat, some may escape. Paused. But I do not think they will retreat. Their commander has too much pride. He will push forward until he has nothing left. Spoke up from her console. General, the enemy fleet is increasing speed. They are trying to outrun whatever is destroying them. Nodded slowly. That will only make it faster. The dust is everywhere between here and Jupiter. The faster they move, the more they collect. He looked at the screen one more time. Another 100 dots vanished. Send a message to Dr. Bay. Tell her to prepare Phase 2. Phase 2? Asked. Smiled for the first time that day. It was not a warm smile. We are not just going to destroy their fleet, Minister. We are going to rebuild it. And then we are going to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth. The red dots kept disappearing. Somewhere in the darkness of space, ships full of soldiers were dissolving into nothing. They had come to destroy humanity. They had no idea that humanity had been waiting for them. Commander had seen many things in his long military career. He had watched planets burn. He had witnessed the extinction of entire species. He had stood on the bridges of 100 ships and felt the thrill of victory countless times. but he had never felt fear, not until now. He stood on the bridge of the Dominion watching his fleet disappear. The tactical display showed it clearly. Ships were vanishing, not exploding, not retreating, simply ceasing to exist. "Report," he demanded, his voice harder than usual. His tactical officer, a young named, stared at his console with trembling hands. "Commander, we have lost 947 ships in the last 2 hours. No distress signals, no weapon signatures, no explanation." "Ships do not simply disappear," growled. "Find out what is happening." "We are trying, Commander, but there is nothing to find. One moment a ship is there. The next moment it is gone. Our sensors show no attacks, no anomalies, nothing." Slammed his fist against the arm of his chair. The metal dented under the impact. On the main screen, another cluster of dots vanished. 12 more ships, 2,000 soldiers, gone in an instant. "Get me a visual," ordered. "Link to the closest ship and show me what they see." Worked his console quickly. The screen flickered and changed to show the bridge of the destroyer Wrathov. The ship's captain, a veteran warrior named, stood at the center of his bridge. "Commander," said, bowing his head, "we are honored by your attention." "Captain, what is your status?" "Unknown, Commander. We have lost contact with 14 ships in our formation. They simply stopped responding. We changed course to investigate and found nothing. No debris, no survivors, just empty space where ships used to be." "Have you detected any weapons fire, any human vessels?" "Nothing, Commander. Our sensors show clear space in all directions. Whatever is killing us, we cannot see it." A warning alarm sounded on the Wrathov. Looked at his tactical officer with confusion. "What is that?" "Hull breach, Captain, Deck 7, but our sensors show no impact, no damage, nothing hit us." Turned back to face the screen. "Commander, I do not understand what is." He stopped talking, his eyes went wide. Behind him, a gray mist was pouring through the air vents. It moved like smoke but with purpose. It spread across the ceiling and down the walls. "What is that?" shouted. "Close the vents, seal the bridge." But it was too late. The gray mist was everywhere now, and it was hungry. Watched in horror as the mist touched one of the bridge crew. The soldier screamed. His arm began to dissolve. Not burn, not melt, dissolve. The flesh came apart into tiny particles, then the bone, then nothing. The entire bridge crew was screaming now. The mist covered everything. Soldiers fell to the ground as their bodies came apart piece by piece. Himself lasted only seconds longer. His face disappeared in a cloud of gray particles, then his chest, then his legs. The screen showed an empty bridge, empty chairs, empty consoles. The mist continued spreading, eating through the walls themselves. Then the screen went black. Stood frozen. His 4 eyes were wide with shock. In all his years of war, he had never seen anything like this. This was not battle. This was horror. "Commander," said, his voice barely a whisper, "the Wrathov is gone." On the tactical display, another dot vanished. Forced himself to think. His mind raced through possibilities. What could do this? What weapon could destroy ships from the inside without being detected? "Microscopic weapons," he said finally. "They are using some kind of microscopic machines, too small for our sensors. They enter through our life support systems and destroy us from within." Looked up at him. "Is that possible?" "It is happening," replied, "which means it is possible." He walked to the tactical display and stared at the remaining ships. 2,100 from the first wave. Still 3,000 each in the second and third waves. Order all ships to seal their external vents. Switch to internal air recycling. Maximum filtration on all systems. "Yes, Commander." But even as the orders went out, more ships disappeared. The microscopic machines were already inside, already spreading, already eating. Far away, on Earth, Dr. Bay watched the same scene from a very different perspective. Her laboratory was small but filled with the most advanced technology humanity had ever created. Screens covered every wall, showing data streams from the dust network. Each particle of dust sent back information. Together, they painted a complete picture of the invasion fleet's destruction. Was 45 years old. She had spent 20 years developing this technology. She had imagined this moment countless times, but imagination was different from reality. Her assistant stood beside her. He was young, barely out of university. His face was pale as he watched the screens. "How many have we killed?" he asked quietly. Checked her numbers. Approximately 400,000 so far. The first wave has lost almost 1,000 ships. 400,000 people. 400,000 soldiers who came to murder 8 billion civilians, corrected. Including children, including Bobbies, including everyone you have ever known or loved. Said nothing. He understood the logic, but understanding did not make it easier. "Does it bother you," he asked, "watching them die?" Considered the question carefully. On her screen she could see the data from the wrath of. She could see exactly how the dust had dismantled every soldier on that bridge. She knew their species, their ranks, their ages. "No," she said finally, "it does not bother me. They made a choice. They chose to come here. They chose to threaten my people. Now they are facing the consequences of that choice. But they are just following orders. Many of them probably did not want this war." "That is not my problem," replied. "I did not start this war. I did not send 9,000 ships to murder a planet. They did. And now they are learning that Earth is not as helpless as they believed." Her console beeped, a message from General Park. Read it and smiled. "Phase 2 is approved," she said. "Start collecting the materials." "Materials?" asked. "The dust does not just destroy," explained. "It recycles. Every atom from every destroyed ship is being gathered and stored. Metal, glass, rare elements, everything they brought to destroy us with is now ours." "What are we going to do with it?" Turned to face her assistant. Her eyes were cold and determined. "We are going to build our own fleet, from their ships, from their weapons, from the bodies of their soldiers." She paused. "And then we are going to show the galaxy that humanity does not just survive. Humanity fights back." In space, the Dominion continued toward Earth. Commander stood on his bridge, watching his fleet die around him. He did not know about the dust. He did not know about Phase 2. He did not know that every ship he lost was being turned into a weapon against him. All he knew was that his invasion was becoming a nightmare. And the nightmare was just beginning. Admiral Lee stood in the command center of base, watching the stars through the reinforced windows. The moon's surface stretched out before her, gray and silent. Above, the earth hung in the darkness like a blue jewel. She had spent 15 years building this base in secret. Every piece of equipment had been smuggled from Earth disguised as mining supplies. Every soldier had been trained in hidden facilities underground. The Galactic Council had no idea this place existed. Now it was time to use it. "Admiral," her communications officer reported. "The first wave has entered Mars orbit, approximately 2,100 ships remaining." Nodded. The dust had done its work well. Almost 1,000 ships destroyed before they even reached the inner planets. But 2,000 was still a formidable force. And the second wave? 12 hours behind. They lost 800 ships passing through the asteroid belt. The third wave is changing course. They are trying to approach from above the orbital plane. "It will not help them," said. "The dust is everywhere. There is no safe path to Earth." She turned to face her tactical display. It showed the orbital defense grid that surrounded Earth. Thousands of satellites, hidden among space debris, each carrying particle beam weapons powerful enough to cut through any hull. But the satellites were not the real weapon. The real weapon was still being assembled. Her console beeped. General Park's face appeared on screen. Admiral status report. The first wave will reach firing range in 6 hours, replied. The defense grid is ready. We can engage at your command. Hold for now. I want them closer. I want them to see Earth. I want them to believe they might still win. Understood, General, and Phase 2. Smiled grimly. Phase 2 is complete. Dr. Bay has finished construction. The Ghost Fleet is ready. Felt a chill run down her spine. She had heard about the Ghost Fleet, but hearing about it and seeing it were different things. Ships built in hours from the recycled materials of the enemy fleet, crewed by artificial intelligence and volunteer pilots who knew they might not survive. How many ships? She asked. 500, each one equipped with dust launchers and particle beam weapons. They are the most advanced vessels humanity has ever built. Built from the corpses of our enemies. Built from the weapons they brought to kill us, corrected. There is justice in that. 6 hours passed slowly. The Council fleet continued its approach, losing ships constantly to the invisible dust. By the time they reached Earth orbit, only 1,800 remained from the first wave. Commander stood on the bridge of the Dominion, exhausted and confused. He had lost more than half his fleet to something he could not see or understand. His soldiers were terrified. His officers were losing hope. But he refused to retreat. His people did not run from battle. All ships, he ordered, prepare main weapons. Target the planet's major population centers. If we cannot take this world, we will burn it. The fleet began charging its weapons. Massive energy cannons pointed at the blue planet below. Each cannon could destroy a city in seconds. Then every screen on every ship in the fleet flickered. The image of an alien commander was replaced by something new, a human face. General Park looked out at the enemy fleet with calm, cold eyes. His voice spoke in every language the Council knew. You sent 9,000 ships to invade our home. On the Dominion, stared at the screen in shock. The humans had somehow hijacked his entire communication network. Every ship in his fleet was hearing this message. You expected us to be primitive, weak, divided. You were wrong about all of it. His image shifted to show a view of space around Earth. It looked empty at first, just stars and darkness. Then the darkness moved. Ships appeared from nowhere. They had been invisible, hidden by stealth technology far beyond anything the Council possessed. 500 vessels, each one sleek and deadly. They surrounded the Council fleet like wolves circling wounded prey. We are humanity. We do not surrender, we do not forgive, and we do not forget. Watched in disbelief as the human ships took position. They were beautiful in a terrible way. Their hulls gleamed with a strange metallic shine. It took him a moment to realize why. Those ships were made from his fleet, from the 1,000 vessels that had vanished, from the soldiers who had dissolved into nothing. The humans had taken the remains of his own forces and turned them into weapons against him. Every ship that entered our system made a choice, continued. Now there is no ship left to carry your warning home, so we will deliver it ourselves. Captain O sat in the command chair of the Retribution, the flagship of the Ghost Fleet. He was 29 years old, the youngest captain in human history. His crew was a mix of humans and artificial minds, working together with perfect coordination. All ships report ready, his tactical officer announced. Looked at the enemy fleet on his screen. 1,800 ships against 500. The numbers were against him, but numbers meant nothing when you had already won. Open fire, he said quietly. The Ghost Fleet unleashed everything it had. Particle beams cut through Council ships like light through fog. Dust launchers sent clouds of microscopic killers into the enemy formation. Human missiles, guided by artificial intelligence, found weak points in armor and detonated with perfect precision. The Council fleet tried to fight back. They fired their weapons at the human ships, but the Ghost Fleet was too fast, too nimble. They danced between enemy fire like shadows, striking and retreating, striking again. On the Dominion, alarms screamed as systems failed, shouted orders that no one could follow. His fleet was dying around him. Ships exploded. Ships dissolved. Ships crashed into each other as their crews panicked. Above Earth, the orbital defense grid activated. Thousands of satellites opened fire, adding their power to the Ghost Fleet's assault. The night sky lit up with the fire of burning warships. The battle lasted 11 minutes. When it was over, not a single Council ship remained in Earth orbit. 1,800 vessels had been reduced to atoms and debris. Commander's flagship, the Dominion, drifted powerless, its weapons destroyed, its engines dead. Captain brought the retribution, alongside the crippled enemy vessel. "Open a channel to their bridge," he ordered. His face appeared on screen. The mighty commander looked broken. His uniform was torn. His gray skin was covered in dust and blood. "You have defeated us," said. "Finish it." Shook his head slowly. "No, you came here to kill 8 billion people. You do not deserve a quick death. You deserve to witness what comes next." "What comes next?" "We have 2 more waves of your fleet approaching. 6,000 ships. And now we have the materials from 1,800 more vessels to add to our fleet," smiled. "By the time this is over, we will have the largest armada in the galaxy, built from the bones of every ship you sent to destroy us." Stared at the young human captain. He finally understood. This was never a battle, it was a trap. The humans had wanted them to come, had prepared for them, had turned their invasion into their own death. "Who are you people?" he whispered. Leaned forward, his eyes hard as stone. "We are humanity, and we are just getting started." 6 months had passed since the invasion. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. 47 species sat in their designated seats, but no one spoke. No one moved. They were all watching the small figure standing at the center of the chamber. Ambassador No was not impressive by physical standards. She was short, even for a human. Her hair was black and tied behind her head. Her face was plain. She wore a simple gray uniform with no medals or decorations. But when she spoke, the entire galaxy listened. "6 months ago," she began, her voice calm and steady, "this council voted to destroy my world. 43 civilizations chose genocide. You sent 9,000 ships to murder 8 billion people. Men, women, children. You planned to burn our cities and poison our oceans. You planned to erase humanity from existence." She paused and looked around the hall. The counselors could not meet her eyes. "Your fleet is gone, every ship, every soldier, 9,000 vessels reduced to nothing. Some of you lost entire generations of warriors. Some of you lost the pride of your military. All of you lost something you cannot replace." Counselor shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She was the oldest member of the council. She had voted for the invasion. She had called humans frightening. Now she understood what fear truly meant. "I am not here to threaten you," continued. "I am not here to demand revenge. Humanity has had 6 months to attack your worlds. We have not. We could have destroyed your capitals. We did not. We could have done to you what you planned to do to us. We chose not to." She placed a small device on the podium before her. A hologram appeared above it, showing Earth's current fleet. 12,000 warships, gleaming with the recycled metal of council vessels. "This is what we built from your invasion. 12,000 ships, every one of them more powerful than anything in your combined fleets. We built them in 6 months. Imagine what we could build in a year, in a decade, in a century." The numbers hung in the air. The counselors understood what they meant. Humanity could now destroy them all, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. "But we are not here for war," said. "We are here to join the galactic community, as equals." A murmur ran through the hall. This was unexpected. After what had happened, many had assumed humans would come for blood. "You have technology we want," explained. Medical advances, scientific knowledge, cultural artifacts, trade opportunities. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders. We want to explore it. We want to learn from it. We want to be part of it. Fleet Admiral, the ancient strategist who had first proposed the invasion, leaned forward in his mechanical chair. And in exchange, we offer peace, true peace. We will not attack your worlds. We will not seek revenge for what you tried to do to us. We will trade with you, work with you, treat you as partners instead of enemies. How can we trust you? Asked. You destroyed our fleet. You could destroy us just as easily. Smiled slightly. You are right, we could. That is exactly why you can trust us. We have the power to annihilate every species in this chamber. We have chosen not to. That choice is not weakness. It is strength. Counselor finally found her voice. What happens to those who refuse, those who will not accept humanity as equals? The smile faded from his face. Her eyes grew cold. Counselor, you sent 9,000 ships to invade Earth. Do you know what happened to the crews of those ships? Said nothing. The question had haunted her for 6 months. They did not die, said. Not all of them. Our technology is capable of disassembling ships, but it is also capable of preserving organic matter. When your soldiers dissolved, they were not killed. They were captured, stored, preserved at the molecular level. A gasp ran through the hall. The implications were staggering. We have 2 million prisoners of war, continued. 2 million soldiers from 43 civilizations. They are alive and unharmed, held in facilities across Earth. Their fate depends entirely on your cooperation. His blue skin went pale. You are holding hostages. We are holding prisoners of war, corrected. There is a difference. Hostages are innocent. Your soldiers came to murder children. They are not innocent, but they are alive, and they can be returned to their families. She paused to let the words sink in. Accept humanity as equals, open trade relations, sign peace treaties, and we will return your people, refuse, and they will remain our guests forever. The choice, counselors, was always yours. The vote that followed was unanimous. All 47 species agreed to recognize humanity as equal members of the galactic community. Trade agreements were signed. Peace treaties were formalized. Ambassadors were exchanged. When it was over, walked out of the great hall and into the landing bay where her ship waited. It was a small vessel, fast and sleek, bearing the emblem of Earth on its hull. General Park was waiting for her. He had made the journey from Earth to witness this moment. It is done, said. Nodded slowly. How do you feel? Considered the question. Tired, relieved, worried. Worried. They agreed because they had no choice. Fear is not the same as respect. Some of them will try to move against us eventually. It may take years. It may take centuries, but they will try. And when they do, looked at the old general with steady eyes. Then we will remind them why they feared us in the first place. Back on Earth, Dr. Bay stood in her laboratory, watching the broadcast of the council session. Admiral Lee stood beside her, along with Captain O and Lieutenant. They had all played their parts in saving humanity. Now they watched as humanity took its place among the stars. Do you think it will last? Asked. The peace, I mean. Shook her head. Nothing lasts forever, but we have given humanity time. Time to grow, time to prepare, time to become something the galaxy cannot ignore. Looked out the window at the sky above Seoul. Somewhere up there, the Ghost Fleet patrolled. 12,000 ships, built from the weapons of their enemies, crewed by humans who had refused to die. What do we do now? He asked. Turned off the broadcast and smiled. We keep building, we keep learning, we keep preparing. The council thought they could destroy us with 9,000 ships. They failed. The next time someone threatens Earth, they will need to send much more than that. And we will still be ready, added. In the months and years that followed, humanity spread across the galaxy. They built colonies on distant worlds. They traded with species that had once voted for their extinction. They explored nebulae and discovered planets that no one had ever seen. The Galactic Council watched them with a mixture of fear and respect. They had learned an important lesson. The universe was old and full of ancient powers, but none of them were as dangerous as the young species from the small blue planet called Earth. Humanity did not just survive. Humanity thrived, and the galaxy would never forget the day they learned the truth about humans. They had sent 9,000 ships to invade Earth. All of them had disappeared, and in their place, a new power had risen. A power that would shape the future of the galaxy for to come. The end.